can I say that I've been cured of it, or are you never fully cured?
I think that's a question. That's the multi-million-dollar question. And I always go back to, kind of what's going on with me right now. Because I had infection. It looks like after I was treated, I had about 8 years of ongoing symptoms, and then I was diagnosed with, active infections. I got them treated over the course of about 4.5 years, and I haven't had a symptom that I can attribute to that in over a decade. So the question is, am I actually, am I cured, or is there some little bits of it living in a persister form living in my body? And I've had some athletic injuries, and every once in a while, the shoulder that I busted up, man, it gets triggered for like, a day. And maybe every once in a while, I'm like, ow, man, I didn't do anything. Why did that hurt? But it was 10 minutes and it's gone. And I don't feel that again for 2 years. Yeah. So is it possible that there's a little bit of Lyme disease that wakes up every once in a while? My body just knocks it right out and I'm in good shape. That's entirely possible. But to me, I've taken antibiotics and herbals for different kinds of infections, and I've not responded in a way that makes it look like I had what they call die-off or a Herxheimer reaction from Lyme. And I've certainly burnt the candle at both ends quite a bit, and sometimes given myself a little extra stress than I probably needed, and I've been fine. I've gotten tired, a little brain foggy. I get one night of sleep and I'm right back. So to me, I've really stressed my body. There was a summer where I cycled 6,000 miles on my bicycle and I was fine. So under those amounts of stress, I can't make Lyme disease come out. So I'm calling myself cured for 10 years or more. And I see a lot of people like that, where we're not 100% sure they're cured because we don't have the test to tell us that, but they haven't had a symptom in 3 years. And they continue to follow up, and we just make sure they're in good shape. And so I think they can be cured. Now, we also have a group of people who have persistent symptoms. And, sometimes these are the people who have done everything right. They do the lifestyle, they modify their sleep and their diet and their sleep, and their stress reduction is all optimal. They've gotten the mold out of their house. They've worked on metals, and like everything's pristine. And they still have some symptoms, and then I think there is a small group of people that aren't going to get better. But in Lyme disease, I also see the people who tend to stay sick the longest, either, it took a long time to get to their diagnosis, or they're not really willing to make the other changes that are necessary. And it's really interesting right now because with the whole COVID-19 thing going on and everybody wondering how to prevent like the second wave stuff, most of the recommendations that I would make for that are the same recommendations I would make as your foundational treatments for Lyme disease, as well as if you want to live as long as possible, as healthy as possible, with your brain working as best as possible and your hormones as optimal as possible. Same kind of recommendations, right? So adults need to sleep 8 or 9 hours a night. When you look at things like eating, get rid of the processed foods and the simple sugars. We need to be eating a plant-based diet, and then whatever else you're eating, add that to it. So like if you like steak and you like chicken or you like fish, add them after you eat it's essentially be a vegan and then add on whatever else you want, but be that vegetable person first. And, it's really important too to get out and get some sunshine and some fresh air, especially in the morning. Because a lot of what we want to do is trigger our body to start making melatonin. And so the sunlight in the morning, which is our sleep hormone, but we actually start making it in the first thing in the morning when we see light. And then at night, as it gets darker, we should be turning down our lights, and if we can't really turn down our lights or get off our screens, at least wear like a blue blocking lens, with glasses that look a little orange or yellow, to cut down on disturbing your circadian rhythm that melatonin creates. Because in the evening, when we see darkness, that's what triggers our body to let the melatonin out. And melatonin not only helps you sleep, but it also is very anti-inflammatory, which is really helpful in things like Lyme and COVID-19. And then, the other part that creates melatonin is your gut. So you have tons of melatonin created in your gut. So your diet is really important for your ability to create melatonin. And so it's interesting. It's like when you go back to the brain part of this, when you're sleeping, that's primarily when your brain detoxifies. And you really, it looks like you need to get into deep sleep for that. And if your gut is off, that'll disrupt your sleep. And if your sleep is off, that'll disrupt your gut. So this sort of gut, brain, heart axis is really critical. And I added in that last piece of the heart because we need to do things like, gratitude and getting ourselves sort of in a heart-centered state where we calm down our nervous system, where we sort of become what we would call parasympathetic, which is our rest and rejuvenation state. And those kind of things are really critical, whether you have Lyme, whether you're just stressed out, or whether you want to, you have COVID-19, or you want to prevent yourself from having a bad event if you get exposed to the virus. So all of these things are really interesting, to me at least, to that interplay. So it's really the sleep, the diet, the gentle body movement, and the relaxation that are going to help you. And what we find is if we add a little bit of like intermittent fasting on top of the food, where we're shortening our eating window, maybe to not eating for 12 hours and eventually not eating for 16, along with that plant-based diet, not only do we bring down inflammation and lose weight, but that actually will help optimize hormones and optimize longevity. And so I feel like I'm rambling a little bit because it's exciting though, because these are simple things that everybody listening could do at home that will make a huge difference no matter what your health outcome that you're looking for is.